What's going on? Welcome back to the Show Me Kayak Fishing Podcast. Today we've got on the winners from the Kayak Anglers Missouri Trail Stop #1 at Bull Shoals Lake. We've got the winner, Lyle Dube. Second place, his brother, Adrian Dube, and the normal co-host of this show, but today we'll be interviewing him as well. Third place, Mr. Christopher Cramsey, and the big bass winner, John Stickley, who is no stranger to being in the check line, right, John?
Well, I've had my days, I guess.
Had your days.
Yep.
John, we'll go ahead and start with you. I've got here that you ended up in 7th place with 78 1/4 inches and a big bass of 21 inches. You care to tell us how your day went, overall, including that big bass?
Sure. So I pre-fished for a couple days in there at Bull Shoals, and of course the weather couldn't have been different any of the 3 days. But Thursday was a whole lot of fun. It was beautiful weather, 90-degree temperatures, and the bass were biting like crazy. So I discovered that there was a little bit of a bite on the bluffs. Most of them were small, but there were some really good bass mixed in within that. And then I found a crankbait bite that night. So those were kind of the things I was shooting for, looking for bluff walls, trying to find a couple big ones, and then just where those bluffs transitioned into flats, it seemed like the bass were moving up a little bit, and that's actually where I caught the big bass, the 21 on Saturday. But the weather got changed over the week. Obviously, Friday it got colder and rained a bit, and Saturday was not much fun at all, starting out about 33 degrees, I think. So I just started off on a point that I thought was going to work out well. And I mean, I caught bass on the first 2 casts and caught 4 fish right there, just bang, bang, bang. Lost a really good one. I never saw it, but it broke off. I was fishing with a rock crawler, just working that crankbait. I think it was the Delta Craw, that bright orangish red. And that was the last one of those I had. So when it broke off, I thought, crap, there goes my pattern. But I just worked down a bluff that was right next to that after that, and was trying to see if I could pick up a bite that way, and that bite was gone. But then moved up on a flat, and that's where I caught the big one. It was I was really pretty surprised to catch one that large. I caught a 20 on Friday. I caught a 19.5 on Thursday, and I thought, well, I'm using those fish up before the tournament day, and there's no way I'm going to repeat that. But then I looked into that 21. Thought I was in really good shape. I thought I'd have a chance to place, and I didn't keep up with Lyle or Adrian or Chris, any of them. But I was 2 calls away from being in really good shape. But my bite shut down throughout the day. Never really did pick back up. So it was kind of frustrating because I thought I had a couple things that would work and had several areas where I was catching good fish in practice. But 7th place is never a bad thing, especially when you got a 21-inch kicker in there that's a big bass. That was a lot of fun. That's my biggest fish I've caught in a tournament, actually. I've caught bigger on lines, but yeah, that made my day.
That's awesome. Congrats on that. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
thank
was
you.
wanting to ask you if you had found any bigger fish in practice, because I think the second biggest fish in the whole tournament was only 19 1/4. So it seems like you were really on some high quality fish compared to everybody else. So.
I think I was fishing. I don't know what everyone else was doing. I kind of got the impression a lot of people may go to the back of creeks and come out thinking that pre-spawn bite was on and just trying to locate it. I was fishing the other way. I was fishing from main lake going in, and so didn't really get too far back into coves. And so I don't know if there was just a few lingering big fish out there, but man, the bite was good on Thursday and Friday, and I was having fun. So I was like, well, I'll just stick with this for tournament day and see what happens. But that cold weather and bluebird skies, I think, kind of shut things down. I was really surprised. I thought they'd go deep. I thought those bluffs would produce on tournament day, but I didn't catch a single fish off a bluff. It was all on the scroll, rock crawler, and then I like to throw finesse baits around, so I was throwing a Ned. I know you get the sissy stick out and throw the Ned, and a lot of people are too proud to do it, but it's a lot of fun to catch a lot of fish. That's kind of how I like my tournaments to go. I like to catch 30 or 40 fish in a day and just cull through the little ones and enjoy the time out there. I don't get a lot of chance to get out as much as I used to, so I try to use these tournaments to get away for 3 or 4 days and, like I said, just tear them up while I'm at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. At what point in the day did you catch that one? Was that thing first thing in the morning?
The big one was probably about 8:30, I would say, 8:30. It wasn't too far into the tournament by any means. About the time that I was starting to think, oh crap, all my bites are drying up. But that was the last really good one I had. Obviously, I had a 16 and a half. I caught another hour or two later, but like I said, after about 10 o'clock, my bite was gone. Uh, Unlike Lyle, I think you had yours all right at the end, if I heard correctly, when you were talking in awards. So. Quite a deal.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta get used to that. Yep. Big flurry at the end as well.
It's fun when those things work out like that.
By the end of the day, John, did you have an idea on something that you might have should have done different, or to maybe like increase the rest of your limit, or what do you think there?
I think I probably stuck with what I thought was going to work too long. I've been guilty of that many times where I leave good fish to try to find better, and then you don't find anything. So I think I did the opposite of that this time. There's a time that you stick with it, and there's a time you don't. And but I was just trying to, I went over a lot of stuff where it was productive water, trying to get that crankbait bite going again, and just I could not ever really locate it. It was really kind of strange. Every other day, it seemed like as the day went on, that bite was pretty consistent. So yeah, you just never know.
That's awesome. Hey, have you fished this lake much in the past? Bull
This
Shoals?
is only my second time being down there. The last time was with KAMO tournament 2 or 3 years ago. Lose track of it. I lucked into third place on that one. But like I said, I think I fished a couple days then. So kind of fished the same area a little bit. So that's kind of how I do it. When I don't get a chance to get down to a lake very often, I just kind of stick to one area and try to get to know it over time, and fish it like it's like a smaller lake up here in Northwest Missouri. You can kind of take one of these 20, 30,000 acre lakes and just pick an arm and a cove and almost treat it like a small lake. And that's something that's a little more familiar to us Northwest Missouri guys. And so that's kind of how I generally tackle it. I mean,
Exactly what you said there.
Unless everything's
Sorry,
just
go ahead.
dead. I fished it. I did that on Table Rock, and I remember pre-fishing 2 days and didn't catch a thing, not a single bite. And then I like a tournament day, I got to try something different. But that usually works out pretty well, though. So you kind of get to know those areas and get familiar with where the hot spots are, and hopefully they produce on tournament day.
Yeah. What you said there, I think, is pretty well how the rest of us fish as well. Is like we pick out that spot, the something, and think of it like one of these little puddles that we're used to fishing. So it's interesting to know that you do the same there. Because you said something there. You said you lucked into third place, and I don't think that you luck into anything, John. You're very consistent.
That's what I try to be. Like I said, I try to fish techniques that get me a lot of bites. The finesse fishing to me seems to be it's a fun when you catch a big one on a spinning rod with 10-pound test or something like that. It's a blast. There's nothing like it. Or if you get into a bunch of smallmouth, there's nothing like that. Yeah, I just try to do techniques that get a lot of bites and just hope I find a few big ones along the way. And the last time I was down there, that's exactly what happened. I think I caught a 19 and a half or something like that just made my limit. And it was a hot August or September day, if I remember correctly. And, nobody was catching big limits, but you catch one or two big fish in there, you're in contention.
Yeah. So just from personal conversations that we've had in the past, it seems like most years your goal is to make it to the All-American Classic.
That's correct.
Is that what you're doing again this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I just, like I said, I can't make every tournament, unfortunately. I would love to, but between work and family, it's just I got to have my priorities straight. And so I try to use these as getaways for weekends where I can take an extra day of vacation on a Friday or something like that and fish 2 or 3 days and just enjoy those getaways. But yeah, I always want to try to finish high enough in the AOI standings that I can qualify for the All-American. That's really kind of the event that really got me into kayak fishing. I had fished a few tournaments with KAMO before that, qualified for the All-American, and thought that, man, that was really cool. And it was the first year they did it, and I got 11th place, one place out of the money. And then I ended up winning a raffle that got the kayak that year. So then I got a new canoe with a motor, and I was really set up. And after that, I was just all in on fishing for a while. I haven't, a couple of years there, I was fishing almost every tournament I could get to, but of late, it's been, kind of hit or miss, just hit the ones that fit my schedule.
Yeah. So can we expect to see you at a few more KAMO events this year?
Yeah, I'll be at several. Like I said, I'll try to get 4 or 5 this year at least, and I like to have 6 and try to qualify for AOI just for the challenge of it. But I wish they'd drop 2 because then I'd feel like I'd have a little more shot. But one bad tournament messes you up when you have no margin for error. It's always Brookfield for me for whatever reason. All those little puddles we fish up there, and I always pick the wrong lake.
Yeah, you ended up on the right one last year where it was won last year, but might have been too late in the day.
Yeah, I think I started there about 12:30 after fishing 2 other lakes.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have a little better success this year.
Yeah, if the lake don't change, maybe. But
that's true. You never know on those multi-lake events. So it's no secret. I prefer those lakes where events where everyone's fishing the same lake, because I don't feel like there's the honey hole factor that happens. I mean, granted, on any big lake, you can find an area that's really producing, but when you're fishing as much as 10 or 15 different bodies of water, and you don't know them, and you don't have the time to really figure out what's got quality fish and what doesn't. It's crapshoot in my mind. But I like how they're accessible for everyone too. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, John, I'll circle back to you here at the end. I got another couple of questions for you, but for now we're going to move on to Mr. Christopher Cramsey. Came in 3rd place, had total of 81 inches, and your big fish was 18 and a half. And for everybody that doesn't know, man, Chris is kind of the guy that got me into the kayak tournaments originally. I'd been interested in them and had done some bass boat stuff in the past, but Chris kind of drug me along to, I believe, a Western Missouri Kayak Fishing League event first, or maybe a KAMO event at Mazingo, one or the other, and helped me get my start. So, Chris, why don't you tell us about your day?
So, going into the event, I knew that a buzzbait could be in play, could a chatterbait be in play, could a blade bait be in play, could a crankbait be in play, could a jig be in play. So I had all those things tied on. And then when I first launched, I saw the water temp was mid-50s. Started chugging around a buzzbait. 30, 40 minutes, nothing could commit. So I took a moment and just had like a mental thought of, I should go fish the deep side of this channel swing with the crankbait. So I motored on over there, and sure enough, 5 cast in, I get that 18 and a half, and it was like, okay, maybe this will lead into something. And it did. I would say I only had six bites throughout the day, 1 coal, probably a bite an hour. So it was definitely a struggle, but they all continually came on that wiggle work, cranking channel swings on the ledges, slow rolling it as best as I could.
And you were catching them. I mean, you said it was pretty slow. Were you kind of catching them all day long, or was there a pretty good dead period somewhere?
I would say we had a north wind in the cove that I was in all day, and every channel swing bank that had that wind just pounding the wind, or the wind which is pounding the bank. That's where I would catch the fish. But as soon as that wind just died down, the bite just completely died. And I think that was about noon 30, I would say. But still, from 7 to noon, 5 bites, and that was it.
Wow. Well, you connected with the right ones, though. Talking to you a little bit after that, I know you were kind of kicking yourself for not crawling there at the end. Looking back on it, is there something that you think or know that you should have done differently at the very end of the day?
So one of my submissions, I had a 14.75 smallmouth that got deducted because the mouth was cracked. So that was a 14.25. And that bumped me down to that 81. But within those last 3 hours, it was just, let me chuck this crankbait around somewhere else, somewhere different. Maybe they moved somewhere. I think I should have had better decision making and probably gone back to those same channel swing banks that I caught a fish prior and just hoped that there was another one just sitting right there. But I just didn't. I just tried to cover new water and see if I could find something.
And is that the only thing that you caught fish on all day? Was that crankbait?
Yeah. I tried dragging a jig, dragging a Texas rig on points, but just nothing.
And have you fished a tournament on this lake before, haven't you? I know we fun fished it one time, but
no, this was the first tournament on Bull Shoals. But yeah, we fun fished, and I will never forget leaving Theodosia Marina, and it's just crystal clear water, hard muddy line, and then it's just muddy ass water. Yeah,
barges of logs across the creek channel that time. It was I think we caught 3 fish and two fish in 2 days of fishing. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Coming in, did you have pretty good confidence in finishing high, or did this kind of come as a surprise to you?
It kind of came as a surprise. I mean, the highest I've ever done in an event larger than 10 people is probably low teens. So coming in on a podium was certainly a shock, and certainly a boost for my confidence in my abilities to fish larger lakes for this upcoming season.
Definitely. I know that that all of us that know you know that you're capable of it. You just haven't pulled the trigger on doing that yet. You know, I know that me and Adrian talk about that somewhat often. That we know that, you know, once you kind of break the seal and kind of break through, you'll be cashing a lot more checks, because you're a lot better than your past statistics kind of show, we believe. So
yeah, I think fishing with you last year and seeing your achievements, Lyle's, Adrian's, everybody's achievements, I've learned so much. I'm just really hoping that what I learned last year, I can essentially like bring that to my benefit and my fruition.
Definitely. I got one last question for you here before we move on. But if there's like one factor leading into this that you would kind of contribute to your success there, like, were you more prepared than usual? Did you do harder map study, more map study? Was it something to do with like history off of a different lake that you learned leading into this one, or something like that? Did you read a lot of fishing reports? If you had one factor that led to your success, what would it be?
I would say a lot of map study. Certainly with this only being Missouri waters, there was only a select percentage of the lake that we could fish. And I knew that those channel swings, those deep channel swings, would probably be the higher success rates. So I tried to find creeks that just had a higher percentage of channel swing banks. And the bait that I threw this tournament, which helped me catch all my fish, I threw on Table Rock. In the same situation there, cranking channel swing banks and caught them. So I just tried to replicate what I did there on Bull Shoals.
And that would have been a Table Rock last fall, or what would have been late spring, early summer?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Whenever we were there last. Well, alrighty. Thank you, Chris. We're gonna move on over to Adrian real quick, and then we'll come back to you at the end. Adrian Dube took second place, total catch of 82 inches, big bass of 17 3/4 inches. Why don't you tell us about your day, Adrian?
Cold to start. I mean, horribly cold. If it wasn't for my hot hands, I had one stuck to my chest and one stuck to my back. I don't know if I'd have made it. But started off catching them on a crankbait with no wind, which was a surprise. I kind of tried to buzz bait for a little bit before the sun got up, when it was still real dark because we launched so early. and it didn't work, so I put it up. I wasn't going to let that be what determined my tournament, keeping the buzzbait in my hand too long. I feel like I did that a lot last year, so I got to cranking. Really, I caught a limit relatively quick. I think it was 65 inches I had pretty early. I think me and Zach Wolverton were right up there, kind of going back and forth between 1 and 2. And then I just kind of died on this little stretch that Lyle and I had found. Being the gentleman he was, he kind of let me have it first. I launched before him. He sat in the truck with the heat, so I kind of got to it first and caught that quick limit. But it died. It died really quick. And then I was catching him on a crankbait, my Spro that I throw, kind of like John was talking about. And I unfortunately bird nested my reel so bad and my hands were so froze, I could not pick it out and fix it for the life of me. So I just picked up a chatterbait and went to chucking that thing around. And after watching my videos, I found that it was kind of the chunk rock banks that were holding those bigger fish. That's where I was catching them. All my big fish actually came on a chatterbait. I did lose one that was it was another probably 17-inch or 18-inch. It would have bumped me up pretty decent, but I would have still finished where I finished because of somebody's late day flurry. It was a fun day fishing, though. I can't complain. I didn't lose too many fish, and the area that I always fish there put out like I thought it would. So I'm pretty happy with it.
That's awesome. And you got on them pretty early. You got on that limit early. Did you have a kind of a dead period like I asked Chris? Was there a moment where you weren't catching them throughout the day?
Yeah, there was two. I kind of had two flurries. I had my early flurry and then my mid-morning flurry. In between that, there was absolutely nothing. There was a little bit of time where I was kind of worried if I was going to upgrade off that 65 or not. And then once I kind of ran into those bigger fish, I knew that where I was at 82 wasn't going to be enough. And I was still kind of searching for that one last bite, and I never did get that. But I still caught, I think at the end of the day, the last 2 hours, I think I caught 3 fish, but they were 14 inchers. They weren't helping me none.
Absolutely. Do you think that the little bit of practice that you got at Lake of the Ozarks the week before, do you think that kind of got you tuned up for the first tournament of the season or first Kayak Anglers Missouri tournament of the season? Do you think that played into it at all?
It certainly helps knock the rust off, but ultimately, when we go to Bull Shoals, I've done a lot of map study on that lake, as has Lyle, and our minds have kind of come together on a spot that we really like. And for whatever reason, when I'm there and I'm on that lake, I just have a lot of confidence. That's my second favorite lake in the state. And I don't know, whenever I'm there, I feel like I can hang a bag. Now, that doesn't always come to fruition, as you can tell by my past tournaments there. That doesn't always work. Sometimes I catch mid 70s. So, I mean, this time it just so happened to work out for me. So.
And you got to practice a little bit the day before, as did I and Lyle, and it sounds like John did as well. How much of what you found the day before played into tournament day?
So, like I was kind of saying, the area that we fish, we kind of feel like we know it really well. So practice for me was just kind of putting a bait in a few spots that I kind of felt like should have fish. Let's just see if they're here in this area, and if they are, we're gonna leave them alone and come catch them the next day. So yes and no. It allowed me to know that they were there, but as long as I knew that they were there, I kind of felt like I could get them to eat whatever I was throwing, if that makes sense. Whether it be a jig, a crankbait, a wacky rig, whatever I had to throw at them to get them to bite, I felt like I could do as long as they were still there.
That's the polar opposite of how my day went, and that's probably why I finished where I finished and you finished where you did. I went out there and found them the day before, and then I couldn't get them to eat anything the next day. So, in aside from just knowing that area really well, after the day of practice, how confident were you that you were going to take a podium finish after practice before the tournament?
I don't know. I got a big head, so I'll be honest. In my head, I always tell myself that I'm gonna do that good. But did I really believe that? No, not really. I mean, I always, like I said, I have confidence in that area. I know what that area can do. So I feel like it's possible, but no, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that I went into the morning thinking that I was gonna take second place or even be up there for a check. To be quite honest with you.
Something funny about Adrian for you guys that don't know is he'll be totally humble up until a couple hours before you go to bed. And then he'll start saying repeatedly, he'll start telling everybody, I'm winning that tomorrow. I'm going to catch 90 inches tomorrow. And he'll start that. And I believe he probably does that until line's in the morning and then he goes and catches them. So something funny about him. I had one more question here for you. Oh yeah. So whenever we got off the water, I spoke to you before the awards and you didn't think that you did enough to cut a check. What did you expect it to take to win?
Well, I had kind of said the day before I thought like 86 and a quarter was gonna win it. Um, but just I don't know. You kind of tell on the end of my video, I was not happy with my finish. I knew I kind of left some out there. And I just didn't feel like 82 was going to be enough when you're fishing with guys like you, Stickley, my brother. Then you throw guys like Jared Fosno in there. You throw a Chris Cramsey in there. You throw a Chad Davidson in there. You just don't. You can never be comfortable. So I did not. I wasn't confident that I was even going to be in the top five. Maybe a divisional check, but I just wasn't confident. I wasn't comfortable.
Definitely. Yeah, I get that. I think I was a little too comfortable with my 10th place. So, but good work to you, Adrian. Same with the other guys. We'll come back to you here in just a minute. We're going to move on to Lyle here. Adrian's big brother, for those of you that don't know. Lyle came in first place of the event with 88.5 inches and a big bass of 18.75. He had a full bass boat legal tournament limit. Smallest fish was 16.5. So congratulations, Lyle. Why don't you tell us about your day?
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, fellas. It was a good day. It was a little weird off and on kind of stuff. And my dogs are barking, of course. Just like Adrian said, the morning was super cold, and I'm not gonna lie, I did sit in the truck until about 5 till lines in. I shot straight across. But so I did that. I shot over where we fish, and there's like a little bit of wood, so I started throwing the buzz bait. And with the temperature and everything, I wasn't really expecting to get anything, but I caught two. I think I caught two on the buzz bait first thing. Pretty much right when we started. It was like a 15 and a 14 and a half or something like that. So that was a nice little happy surprise. But sun came up. I put that buzzbait down before the sun came up, honestly. But I started throwing the rock crawler like I do. Love throwing that thing. And just kind of worked towards the area that Adrian was saying I let him have, which, yeah. So I just kind of started heading that direction, cranking along. I caught a few here and there. It's kind of pretty sparse bite, honestly, first thing. But I think I got another 15 and then maybe like an 11 that I didn't even put in the system. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to, kind of deal. But yeah, so I just worked like this main lake. I was thinking main lake was going to be the deal for me because that's typically, I like being back in the stuff a lot, but I kind of figured main lake staging kind of stuff would be the deal. But I made it to a bigger cut at one point with a dock in it. So I went back in there and I was thinking the dock would be the deal, but I didn't get anything off the dock. So I started cranking a little shallower, that secondary point kind of stuff, halfway back. And that's when I got my big fish on the rock crawler, 18 3/4. Yep. Yep. And I was starting to wonder, I think at that point I was sitting at like 76 or something. I still had like a 13 or something. And started working my way back towards the ramp. Same stuff I already went through. Caught another couple, upgrade a little bit on the crankbait. I caught a 15.5 inch spot that didn't make the cut. That thing was a little football. It was beautiful. But then I knew I had to do something. I was like, let's go try to recreate what I did earlier in the day. So I went back into this cut that I've never had luck on tournament day in that area. But I had a pretty good feeling I could upgrade. I think I was sitting at like 79 inches with an hour left. And I shot back in there and I thought the deal would be cranking, so I just cranked my way basically all the way back. And so it's really cool little cut. It starts out with just like mud, and then it's rock, and then it's bluffs, and there's like it's like a bluffs on each side, but super tight. It's like probably like 10 foot across. But once I got to that stuff, I just said, forget that. I'm turning back around. That's when I picked up the bladed jig because there's all kinds of crap in the water. I kept getting leaves on my crankbait and whatnot, so I decided to start throwing a jackhammer. And it was about, I think I had about 40 minutes left in the tournament, probably 35 when I got my first. I think I got a 16. That's where my 16 and a half came from. And then it was an 18, about 5 yards farther. And then it was I kind of turned a little bit to go back out, and that's when I got like that 17 and a half, I think. No, yeah, one of them 17s. And then right with 5 minutes left, I was on my way out of that cut. There's a juicy looking log there. Brought the old jackhammer back over that sucker, and that's when I got, that was the 17 and a half. And I think the 17 and 3/4 was before that or whatever it was. But yeah, every time them suckers hit in that little channel, or in those little rocks, they just take it and boom, just head towards the middle. They just smashed it. It was a beautiful thing. And at that point, I think I went up 9.5 inches just in that little cut with an hour left. So I got to give it to those babies in that cut. Those are the ones that helped me out big time.
It's a heck of a deal when you're catching so many fish. You can't keep them all straight and when you're telling a story.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was cool. I got blessed, that's for sure.
In that specific spot there, did you notice was the wind blowing on that? Was the water clarity different? Why do you think that spot was what it was?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys all experienced the same thing, but it seemed like wind changed direction all day long for me. I don't know if it's the bend that we're in or what it is, but it's like circling out there. And I thought when I went back there, I was kind of wondering about the crankbait because I knew it was going to be a little lighter wind back there, but no, it just so happened the wind was pushing straight into that. And like I said, there's mud at the beginning of that, and then it turns into rock, and then it turns into bluffs in the back. And so I'm guessing all that wind was pushing the mud straight into that rock. So it was dirty. It was super dirty. But it was also 3 degrees warmer than the rest of the lake that I was fishing all day. So my guess is I'm pretty sure 3 of the 4 that I caught in there were female. There was one, my 18 had a super pointy face on him. I think that dude was a big buck, but I'm not sure. So I'm guessing they're back there, wanting to do their thing. There's shad. They're eating shad back there for sure. Seen a lot of blowups. So I'm guessing that's what it was. Maybe the temp in the place. It's got a lot of good stuff. I would spawn back there if I was a bass, I think. Sounds good.
It's yeah. All right.
He left you speechless, Dane.
It's important to note that he was the only person that went back there all
Yeah.
day because I was within eyesight of the cut he went into. So he completely went in there and fished unpressured fish. So if we had more
Sure.
time left in the tournament, who knows what he could have done back there because those fish didn't see a bait all day. They were just dumb.
My fish were
Was that
super.
was that a spot that you had checked out and in practice at all? I know that you said you've never done well in a tournament there, but did you get to practice there at all?
No, Adrian and I popped off the water in that area pretty early because, like you said, we caught a few and we know the area pretty good. But in the past, I've caught a few back there, nothing crazy, and that's why I was like, well, last ditch effort. But it's the closest thing to what I did earlier in the day, and I was like, it's right there. Go try it. What do you got to lose, you know? And yeah, so no, I did not practice in there. No, and I don't know if anybody else has been in there. So.
And am I right that you have won once before on Bull Shoals as well?
Yeah, my rookie year that KAMO was there. Yep, won that one.
So with that and with the little bit of looking around you got to do in practice, how confident were you coming into tournament day after practice?
Confident, I'll say confident enough to think that I was going to put up an 80 bag. So I thought I'd be maybe up there somewhere, maybe trying to get in there, but I knew it was going to take high 80s. Adrian said his guess. I think my guess was, I think I said 87 and 3/4 because I think that's what I got 3 years ago. So I was like, well, yeah, I'll just stick with that.
Well, that's awesome. By the end of the day, did you know you had it?
I was pretty stoked. I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty emotional on the way back to the ramp. So I was feeling pretty good.
How
Everything
many
came
times
together.
have you got? Well, everything came together. You said.
hmm
How many times have you gotten to come and fish this lake?
Um, this is this was the second one with KAMO, and I fished 2 with Moyak. So this is number
Okay.
4. So probably a total like 8 days on the water. Practice days are usually little half kind of days, you know.
Yeah. I know asking the winner this is a little bit weird, but is there anything that you wish you'd done different?
Mm, I mean, I could have done more before it was 1 hour left and I was scrambling, you know. I probably could have. I don't know. I don't know. So the area that we fish, it's kind of like main lake, mostly main lake. I'd say it's 90% main lake. So if you want to fish some cuts, you're gonna be running. So maybe I could have ran up a little farther north and found some other cuts, and maybe could have put together a mega bag or something. I don't know, but I'm, you know, pretty stoked on what happened.
Well, that's awesome. Man, I thought I had something else. I lost it there.
That's all right.
Well, alrighty. I lost my question there for you, Lyle. I'm sorry about that. But congrats to all of you guys. I wanted to, before we get off here, I wanted to get your guys' next tournaments coming up from everybody to know where I might see you guys next. So, John, where do you think that you're going to be fishing your next tournament?
And I'll definitely be at the All American. That's my next one. I'm definitely going to be at. I'm eyeing Moyak over at Park Twain. As you know, I kind of like that lake over there. Had some good luck, but we'll see if that's
And
in the cards.
it should produce here in April. That should be a really fun tournament. Should be a lot of big bags. I mean, probably not any 88 and a quarter or whatever it was that you had there, Lyle, but probably close to 80, I'd bet. So
I better be over that. You know, it'd be pre-spawn or even maybe early spawn over there at this point in time. So yeah, that'd be fun. And All American, you know, who knows? I mean, there's always somebody that puts 90 inches up on that. It seems like so over for 2 days. You know, 170, 100, close to 180 inches. It's pretty wild.
Absolutely. And you're fishing the All American representing Kayak Anglers Missouri again?
That's correct. Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So are me, Adrian, and Lyle on that one.
Well, hopefully us Northwest Missouri guys can represent.
Yeah, we did it.
Let's do it.
Definitely did it Bull Shoals. Hopefully we can do it again. All right, Chris. When's your next tournament going to be?
I'm kind of torn. It would be Wapapello next month. I set myself up so well after this tournament. I'd be dumb not to go to keep the ball rolling. If not Wapapello, for sure Mazingo in May. So looking forward to that. Love fishing Mazingo.
Hesitant to go to Wapapello because of the drive.
Yeah, that, and I hear the lake not the best. So
yeah, it's a rough one, and it's how far from you? 5 hours? I think it's 7 hours from me.
Like 5.5, something like that. I mean, definitely manageable, but do I really want to spend 12 hours driving for a lake that might suck? Probably not, but done it before. I'll probably do it again.
Well, good deal. I personally hope that we'll see you there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Adrian, what's next in the cards for you, buddy?
And Mark Twain next weekend with Moyak, and the following we'll be going to WAP to hopefully catch the 7 fish that are in that lake. So, yeah, that's my next 2 back-to-back weekends. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. And then Lyle, I know you're looking forward to catching those 7 bass, live them up again like you did last year. You
Hmm.
gonna make it to Mark Twain?
I'm not gonna make Mark Twain. I forgot that's a anniversary trip weekend, so I got an out on that one. So I'm just gonna ride this W for a little bit. Be good.
There you
So no,
go.
you
Go back
yeah
to
you
what's that?
You'll see me at WAP though. That's the next one. Yep. Hopefully I'll
Good
catch
deal.
at
What'd you
least
take
five
last
of the
year?
7. I think I
5 of them
got third.
7.
Yeah, third place last year.
Third place with 55 inches.
It was something like that. It was mid 60s or something. It was a 5 fish limit. One was like
Yeah.
a 9 incher. I think you asked me how I caught that one. I was like, crankbait, little 9 incher. It helped though. We're
That
hoping for 80. We're hoping for 80 this time. Let's
it,
go 80.
with as dry as it is, it may not be as flooded. Might be better fishing this time. We'll see. But
We're gonna find out.
yeah. And then I'll be at Mark Twain with Moyak, not this coming weekend, but next. And then I'll be at Wapapello. And then on Sunday, after Wapapello, I'm hopping over to Pomme de Terre to fish the grassroots series there. So we've all got some coming up. Excited to see you guys at all of them. Do you guys have anything else for me or each other? Any questions?
Yeah, Cramsey, Wapapella, do it. That's all I got to say. Come on.
I'll consider it. I'll consider it.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be a good time.
I just enjoyed this weekend, especially seeing all these Northwest Missouri guys doing so well. Traveling that far and fishing lakes that aren't. We don't have that up here. We don't have lakes that are just nothing but rock and bluffs and a few stumps here and there. It's pretty cool to be able to see everyone go down there and have such a good weekend.
Yeah, we fish a lot of grass up this way.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end of it there was six Northwest Missouri guys in the top 10. It was pretty cool.
Very cool. And a big bass. That was pretty sweet.
And the big bass.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that one for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure people half a mile away heard me screaming. You know how it is when you catch a big fish. It just all comes out, and you know how it is. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, if that's all that everybody's got, I'll go ahead and end it here.
Hey, Dane, we can't go without you. Can't have talking this podcast without talking about this giant you caught on KAMO. You got to tell that story, man. This may be your
That's a good
podcast,
point.
but you can talk about the good things you're doing too. So, it was amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, John. We were at Taneycomo for the grassroots series. The day after Bull Shoals Sunday. This was last Sunday, and went out fishing. I've never caught a bass out of that lake, so I didn't really know what I was looking for. I just figured I'm gonna go fish it just like Mazingo, but keep in mind the current. And so I was throwing my regular Mazingo stuff, buzzbait, chatterbait. About an hour and a half of the morning went by without a bite, and then picked up an orange Senko, and I think it was my second cast after picking it up. Tossed it in on an inside weed line right next to a stump, and sank down past the weed line, and then I felt something, and I thought it was grass, so I just popped my Senko off the grass, and I felt it pull against something, and then I felt her spit, and so I just reeled in, cast it back in there, and I saw my line jump, and I saw a pretty good flash in the water, so I knew it was a good fish, and I set the hook and fought her for a while. She got underneath my boat, and I thought it was like a 5-pounder just stuck in the grass, but I think she had turned broadside to where I just couldn't lift her. And eventually got her up next to the boat, and in the mess, I had kicked my net off, and my net was floating away. And I was trying to grab the net, but had her kind of high sticked, and her mouth just right there open. It would have been pretty easy for her to just thrash and throw the hook, but reached down and grabbed her and pulled her in, and then I realized really that she was a real giant, and I I was thinking probably 8, like the biggest fish that I'd ever seen, even still. But I got her up on the board, 23 1/4 inches. I thought for sure I'd won big bass. It was wild. I was panicking. Stony Floyd was just on the way from me, and he was making fun of me at the awards because I just kept yelling, oh my god," because it was the biggest fish I'd ever seen outside of a Bass Pro Tank, you know. And yeah, got her on the measuring board, 23 1/4 inches. Stood up and weighed her, and she weighed in at 9 pounds 2 ounces, and it was just wild. But got a couple of more pictures of her, and then released her. She swam off strong, and I thought I was about to have a wild day. You know, you always hear about KAMO giants, and my first one ever out of there was a giant. And I spent about 10 minutes trying to catch my breath so that way I could cast again because I was just shaking. And then finally got back to fishing, and I got 4 more bites all day, only connected with 2 of them, and they were 14 inches apiece. And I ended the day with like 50 inches. It was not a good finish, but one great big fish. And I tied for big bass with Chad Davison, and
The
the
dream crusher
tiebreaker is
strikes
based.
again.
Yeah,
The
the
dream crusher,
tiebreaker is
man.
based on time of picture taken, and so he had caught his about 20 minutes before mine, both 23 1/4 inches, and I lost the tiebreaker. Pretty wild, but yeah, definitely cool experience.
Well, you're not
Yeah,
the
that's
only one that has
wild.
a story about Chad Davison sniping you from a big bass. Let's just be honest. The
Yeah,
dream crusher was known for that. And I love giving him a hard time about it. He's a heck of an angler, though. So
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you catch. I don't care where you're at. You catch a 23 1/4. You think you probably got big bass locked. That's just insane. Did he tell you what his weighed? Was it similar? Did he weigh it?
He didn't have a scale. He posted a video on Facebook earlier that where he said something about 7. He thinks it weighed about 7. And then talking to him there at the awards and seeing a few different pictures and videos that he took of it, I would say 7 to 7.5, maybe even high sevens. I mean, it's a healthy fish. Um, but mine looked like it swallowed 3 or 4 2-liter Mountain Dew bottles, and his was shaped like a bass. You know what I mean? So it was both of them definitely huge fish, but one of them was just one of them. I mean, the one that I caught was shaped like that giant out of California a couple weeks ago. Just a blimp. Not even. I mean, it was shaped like a turtle. So
Well,
wow.
hey, I got one more question for you because you said you caught it on a Cinco. So did you pull that thing in with spinning gear, or were we doing like Texas rig, or what was it?
I throw my wacky rigs on casting gear.
Oh, that's right. I didn't know that about you. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Man,
7.2 medium heavy rod and a 8.1 to 1 reel, 40-pound braid, 20-pound fluoro. And so I cracked it just like it was with a jig, and then I used real meaty, heavy hooks. So
gotcha. Okay, okay.
You and those orange Cincos. I heard you do about that last year at Zingo. Like, not a lot of guys will throw an orange Cinco. But hey, it pays
there's
off.
one other one.
The secret may be out now.
I hope not. Yeah, I've done all right with them. I actually stumbled on them as a kind of a accident at Truman. I just saw them on clearance at Walmart because nobody was buying them, and went to Truman for the All American, and then finished my day 2 limit on them like really quick. I had a horrible that event, but most of the fish that I caught was on an orange Senko. And then going to practice for Mazingo after that, I just had left him tied on and then found that bite there. And then now it's I carry 2 color Senkos now. I carry green pumpkin and orange. So
Well, I'll admit, I was thinking about your orange Cinco when I was struggling, on tournament day, and I got some orange shaky head worms that I tried. I didn't catch a darn thing on them, but probably because I'm not Dane.
it,
Dane knows how to work an orange worm of some sort, but the rest of us, it's just off on it.
apparently, yeah, it's for me it's a situational thing entirely. Like either they're hammering it or they won't touch it. And so it's but it's I don't know, it's kind of interesting, but I like them.
Well, I've heard people using like the bubblegum pink and stuff like that. But, when I heard you were throwing bright orange, like, that's a new one for me. But got that one filed away up here.
It's a good one for some of them tough events. I caught fish on that. That's how I finished my limit at Lake of the Ozarks a couple weeks ago too. It was orange Cinco. Hey, it wasn't a good limit, but it was a limit.
Yeah, as long as you have a limit, that you can always feel halfway decent if you put 5 fish on the board. If you struggle, it can be a really long day.
Definitely. Does anybody have anything else here?
Well, thanks for inviting me on. I've never been part of a podcast before, so this was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a conversation with an extra step here. So, but I appreciate all you guys coming on. It was fun talking to you guys. I hope to do it again. Congrats on your great finishes, all of you. I know we lost Adrian at some point, but congrats to you guys for going out there and having a great day. And I hope to get to talk to you guys again. Maybe a couple of you after Wapapello, and maybe John will see you after the All-American Kayak Classic. So,
well, it'd sure be nice to have a really good finish there. That would be exciting. I mean, when the first prize is $10,000, I mean, come on, that'll get anyone excited.
100%, yeah. But thank you guys, everybody at home, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time with a recap after Mark Twain. Maybe we'll have to communicate with the Moyak guys on that. So, all right, real quick before I let you guys go, both your second place and your third place winners, Adrian Dube and Christopher Cramsey, they both just produced YouTube videos over this day of fishing that we spoke about in this episode, and both of them will be linked down below, so please go check them out, show them some support. Both of them are pretty new to the YouTube thing, and I'd appreciate it if you check it out. I know that they will, so go give them a look and see how they caught them.